All right, and hey everybody, it's your instructor Emily Ray from your Editing for the Web class. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of positive, productive feedback on these portfolio websites as you get ready to head into Portfolio 3 next month. Now, I get the unique opportunity to have you in this class and then to follow up with you in Port 3. So you will be working with me again on these portfolio websites in week 3 of next month. So I'm super excited to see how your site evolves between now and then. So first up, we're going to look at Brian's site. So very clean upon first appearance. We've got your brand identity up here, experience, education, examples, skills, and contacts. Scrolling down, we see just a quick bit of information about you, a picture here. Kind of neat how you're on the beach looking out at the water and you've got the water background. You've got your social media. As I hover over them, I can see that they are in fact linking to the places where we can connect with you online. Just a little welcome statement here. I'd recommend you go ahead and align this to the left. Anytime you have paragraph text, you increase the readability of it if you're aligning it to the left instead of center aligning it. Scrolling down, we have your experience here. So it's nice kind of resume type format in a timeline. We get a lot of good keyword rich content here, knowing where you worked and what you did. I can see as I'm scrolling down that this it's shifting up here. So we were just on the experience section, now we're on the education, which lets me know that this is a one-page website and that these are page anchors dropping me to each section here. I think that this is a really great way to set up your portfolio, especially early on when you might not have as much content as you eventually will. So here's just a snapshot of your education, where you went to and the degrees or the fields you studied in, and then we have examples here. I might maybe call this something like work examples or portfolio pieces or projects, something like that, just something that's just a tad bit more descriptive in terms of what someone's going to find here. As I hover over these things, these featured work projects, I can see that they're linking me to your Real Del Taco site, a YouTube, and then another website. The the benefit of not sending someone off to another location is that they stay on your site longer. My recommendation here would be to have these linked to another page where you are giving a little bit of a backstory or a case study on the project. Tell me what it is that you created, why, what was the problem or the issue that was brought to you, how did you address it. That way you're offering more context to help us understand what it is that you're creating and ultimately why you're sharing it and the skills that you're hoping to showcase. So here I see just your skills. It looks like you've got a rich variety of different things here. I appreciate that you put in the level to which you know or you have experience here. I think that that's helpful. And then just a simple contact form. Brian, I think that this is a wonderful first start for your portfolio. Next month we're going to be focusing on developing a little bit more of your personal brand. And so you'll have the opportunity to infuse this piece with a logo and maybe more aesthetics that you're working on. Additionally, it'd be a great opportunity for you to add any more content that you see fit. But overall, really great start. Next up, we've got Coral's site here. I love that you used kind of a coral color. It's one of my favorites. Up here we have the identification, Coco Media. Simple way to contact you on the phone. We've got home, services, portfolio, quote, contact, and subscribe, and then the places we can connect with you online. So here we get an idea of what you do, which is nice, because it lets us know first and foremost the areas that you're looking to secure more work or maybe collaborate. As I stated in Brian's review, anytime you have paragraph text, you want to make sure that it is left aligned over here instead of center aligned. It makes it easier to read for your viewers. It looks like we've maybe got some placeholder graphics here that potentially you might be replacing or maybe using this as stock. Might be cool to see some of your own work here. It looks like you got a nice picture of you coming in. You've got just a few things here. The spacing of this looks a little off. I do see that you've got these both, they're aligned left, but just it's creating, because of the word wrap here, creating sort of a very weird spacing. I might recommend you center align both of these and then bring this word cutting edge a little bit closer here over the top. Bring this, this heading just a little bit more so there's more proximity there. Scrolling down, I see a few pieces of your work here. It's kind of a little collage of different items. So as I'm scrolling down and I hover over them, I'm going to go ahead and select one. Let's see. Let's look at your Timber Shave Club presentation. So what this is pulling up for me is basically a picture of what it is that you've created. Now what I'd like to see is a little bit more explanation and context to help me understand what it is you created, why you're sharing it with us, what are you looking to showcase with, what skills, what techniques are you looking to showcase by sharing this. And so that would be true for everything that we see here, right? So like, let's take a look at your Real Deal Tacos. I'm seeing a screenshot of it, right? And this isn't even a full robust view of every page that you've created in the interactivity between the pages. It's just kind of a screenshot that almost cuts off the logo and isn't quite centered right, and it isn't really the best representation of your site. So again, like what I would suggest that you do is have a nice image that features a little bit of this work. Give us the story behind it. Tell us you created a website for a fictitious company. Tell us what they asked for. Show us what you delivered. And then provide a link so that we could go ahead and view the full site that you created. Continuing to scroll down here, you got a lot of content here on the home page. And what I'm wondering is if you also have a one-page layout, because let's see if I go to quote, if it just drops me down. Okay, it sure does. So what I'd like to see then is potentially, can you make this a sticky header, meaning that as I scroll down, the header remains up here at the top of the page, even as I go through these different sections, like I could still see my options here. So I do believe that that is something that you can do in Wix. So we just have a simple contact form, ways to keep in touch, and all of your contact details here. You have everything kind of in this little like long list format here. I might recommend you make a 2-column layout where your form is over on this side and then your contact details and this little paragraph of information kind of borders it over here to the left. Simple way to sign up for an email. And then again, the repetition of your contact details down here. Overall, this is a really great start, Coral. I'd like to see it maybe infused with a bit more of, your personality in terms of like the photography, and then again, more context to understand the projects that you're sharing. But overall, really great start. Here we have the site of Christopher Gillespie, so really clean upon first glance. We've got a nice logo here in the middle. There's a bit of elegance, in this design. One thing that immediately kind of concerns me is that your social media has taken a place of prominence up here in your navigation bar, and your name, the identity or the brand itself, the logo, as I scroll, it disappears, right? And so at this point, it's kind of a faceless site in that like it doesn't have a brand or an identity. I do still see your social media. My biggest recommendation right off the bat is to move these over to the right-hand side and go ahead and put your name up here so that, I still get all of these options as I continue to scroll, but I lose, who the site is about. So kind of scrolling down, you do aviation public relations and media strategy, which is cool. I'm digging this design. I might recommend you go with an all caps here, just because the I and the dangler on the G here kind of give you some funny spacing in this element. I don't know if you've already played with that, but might be something to look into. So here you've got a cool photo of a plane, which is relevant to your area of specialty. A little bit of about information. It's nice. It's bordering this area really great. This red on the green is a little harsh on the eyes. You've got a kind of a cool image here, but it's been photoshopped quite a bit because I can see the pixels and stuff. Wondering, if you have the version of this that might be a little more high res, so we're not seeing kind of the jagged edge here, and that just offers something like, a bit more context to the environment that you're in that situation. We've got your skills, so these are areas that you are able to offer services, so media production, Final Cut Pro. I see kind of like a mixture of alignment here, right? Like, so in some cases like Final Cut Pro, it seems like this is aligned in the middle. And then in other places, it seems like it's kind of aligned to the left. I would go ahead and make something, choose one way and just make sure that it's consistent there. You also have kind of an interesting spacing in this area. I might recommend you go ahead and make these photos a little bit bigger. You could even turn them kind of into badges, whereby the photo was maybe about this big, and then it said media production right on top. So we can connect with your LinkedIn page, which is cool. The experience here, it's nice because it's in kind of like a timeline resume type format, like we saw on Brian's site, and just get a nice history of where you've worked and some of the ways that you've applied your skills. This blue background is necessary because of the photo that you've overlaid it on, which is cool, but you put all of this stuff in a container, and inside the container I want you to observe more padding, meaning you get a good bit of space over here and a good bit of space over here, but go ahead and extend this a little bit further down just so everything doesn't seem like it's coming right up to the edge of that container. So we've got your education listed here. Curious as to why the words wrap right here instead of extending more full frame in this area. Don't know if that's an arbitrary line break or you just made a text box that went this far, but go ahead and take advantage of all of the room we have there on the page. So here we have a visual portfolio. There's a lot of busyness going on here, right? So not just the image in the background, but the text you've put up on top. And it's week 2 project portfolio competency, my digital ... I don't know what the rest of it says, right? So for somebody who's looking at your portfolio, they're not going to really understand why this is called week 2 project, right? I understand why it's called that because you're a student and you did this during week 2, right? But that's context that any old viewer doesn't have. I'd go ahead and give this a meaningful title so people will have a better idea what it's about and then are more intrigued to play it, right? And same thing for all of these. Like you give us this in sort of a slideshow type format, but I'm wondering if there's a better way to maybe tile these on the page. Give me a title, a brief description of the video, and what skills you're looking to showcase by sharing that. Here I see kind of a window in a window. And what you're then giving me here is your blog that has not just a curated bit of content, but everything. So a portfolio is really an opportunity for you to cherry pick your best work and the types of work that you want to try and dig deeper into, maybe get clients or do collaborations on. So really what I would suggest here, if you want to share some of your writing, pick a few things to feature, but not everything, right? Because you want to make sure that it really is in fact your best work. So here we have the get in touch, just a little bit of about you and where we can connect. Simple contact form. All of this is looking great. You want to update this to say that it's got a copyright to you, Christopher. And again, you have that one-page design similar to what we've seen in the other ones. I think this is a wonderful approach to building a portfolio, especially again when you're doing it in the beginning. Next month, you're going to have an opportunity to work a lot on your personal branding, and I look forward to continuing the journey with you then, Christopher. Last but not least, we've got the site of Alejandro. So here, first things first, we got a nice big full screen picture, a nice mustache you got going on, and then a little intro. And that you do production work. What I'll say though is that your navigation bar gets lost up here, right? Wondering if you could give this a color so that those links will stand out. And you've got a logo of sorts over here, but it's hard to really see it in its full application because I don't know if there's something dark over here that I just can't see because of the image, or if this is in fact just an A with kind of the semicircle around it. It's really hard to read these links just because of the overlay on the picture. Wondering if you can drop the picture and make this a solid color nav bar. I'm going to scroll down. So here, okay, now we can see your logo maybe a little bit more on the full. I dig this color combination, this sort of red and kind of a dark blue-gray. As I recommended with some of the other sites, anytime that you have kind of a chunk of paragraph text, you want to go ahead and align that to the left because it increases the readability of what you're sharing. Opportunity to download a PDF document of your resume. Here, some of your skill levels. I dig the visualization of this, but what you are telling me here, like I don't have really a terrific amount of info to understand this data, right? Because you know PowerPoint 75%. But what is this spectrum of 0 to the 100? Is it I have it on my computer and 75% is I've used it for a few projects, or is it novice to expert? Is it beginner to super user? If you could define what the two ends of this spectrum are, because all I can really infer from this is that you know social media more than you know Adobe CS6, right? And so for that reason, it gives me kind of an idea of the relationship to each other, but not necessarily the extent of each one of these skills on its own. So here's some of your portfolio pieces, your latest work. As I hover over them, I want you to notice that I can see the name of the file, which says screenshot something or other. If you don't go in and update this information yourself by adding that descriptive metadata, what's going to happen is it's going to default to the file name. So this is also a screenshot, right? And so as I hover over these, I can see that each one is taking me to a YouTube video. And the danger with that is that you send someone away from your site and they don't come back. So again, what I would recommend, as I said for a few of these other reviews, is that you maybe give us a nice thumbnail. Give us a description, give it a title and an explanation, and tell us what you did on it, what was your role, what equipment did you use, how did you edit it, all of those sorts of things, because it becomes keyword-rich content. And then say, you know, watch full video, and then maybe from there they can link. But by giving me all that information, I can choose which one of these is most worth, you know, my time if I'm a busy hiring manager or I'm looking to connect or collaborate with you on certain kinds of projects. So here we have your experience, kind of scrolling down. We get to see it in a timeline format. This area just looks really nice. And then your education, you know, where you're going to school and what you're studying. And then a simple contact form. Looks like we still have placeholder text in there, so that's definitely something you'll want to update. And then your social media information, other places where we can connect with you online. This is really a beautiful start, Alejandro. You know, I think that there's a lot more we can do in Portfolio 3 next month, but I'd like, you know, I like where this is starting, and just look forward to, you know, seeing how you're able to take and incorporate this feedback for its next best iteration. Be mindful that the focus of next month is not only enhancing this portfolio site, but also the development of your personal brand. So be thinking about you know, how it is that you want to be portraying yourself in that way. And I look forward to working with you guys then.